the topic of the day is how to automate data prep and how to apply conditional workflows and logic. Please let me first introduce. I'm a biomedical engineer and I have a master in machine learning applied to also biomedical data. And I joined Altair on May 2019 as a data analytics solution specialist. Today, basically, I will present how to automatize some logic processing into Monarch by using not only Monarch Desktop that maybe you have seen already in the other coffee breaks, but also the Monarch Server part in order to gain the automation required. I will show as well, just briefly, also how this could be applied into the AI Studio, and this will be the topic of the next meeting. So at first, let me go directly into Monarch. Basically, what we have done here is to extract some data that are coming from some vendor receipts. Into this data, what we have right now is the PO, and then the part number related to these different POs, the date in which we have received this part number, and the data in which the PO was started, as well as the quantity and the unit cost. Of course, we have also the vendor and the city to which they belong, as well as the country. One thing that you can see at first, you can see here, for example, we need, of course, to prepare the data, especially in related to the country, because you can see here, for example, we have USA, but we have also United States of America, and America is also not complete, as well as England, or sometimes UK, or Britain, or United Kingdom. So we need, of course, in order then to maybe have this in a convenient way available in a dashboarding, or to be well prepared for a machine learning model that needs to be applied, we need, of course, to adjust all of these data. So let me show you what I've done here. Here you can see this is the change history that I've already applied, and into this history I've tried to apply some logical formulas. So you can see here we have the fx, so we are computing a value based on the expression. For example, here we are calculating the delta between the PO date and the receipt date, and this is meaningful for us because now we are evaluating a KPI. Here we have evaluated the KPI of turnaround time, the TAT, and this is fundamental in order to then calculate all of the others. So, for example, here I've applied a logic in which I'm saying if the TAT that I've already calculated are less or equal the lead time, that is a standard time in which the vendor is delivering such service, then say 1, unless 0. This is, for example, a simple logic that we can apply, but we can also add more and more functions based on the needs, even also nested into a single expression. I mentioned before the countries, and so what I've done in order to check every single country and to harmonize every item, basically again was a nested if then else logic applied here in order to check every time that was a misspell on the name or a different for example, here the points are missing and so on, and then gain a unique label. Before to do this, I've also changed directly to the capital case in order to be sure that the proper capital case was assigned to the data. And then I've applied basically this formula. In my experience, I've also used this kind of formulas also in a nested form also to calculate some others KPI, like the TAT that you are seeing right now, or the actual OTD, even in a, let's say, more complicated way based, of course, on the formulas required. Here I've also used a regex x match. So basically I'm checking every time in my country where is available England. So if is available and if it is available is equal to 1, then you need to assign UK, for example, as well as for Great Britain, for example, in order to be sure that every time that this is mentioned in my column, then I can see it. Then basically I've done this in a different column into different one. So basically then the last thing that I've done was to delete this one. After I've done my my changes, then of course I can try to automatize this. And what can I do? For example, I can add the other reports. So I can go directly here, add reports, add also the receipts too, for example, the others. And you can see here I have more and more rows, and the same changes are applied also here, for example. But what if I would like to automatize everything? So if I would like to avoid to add every time a new receipt, then of course we have Monarch Automator that can help you in doing this. We usually advise Automator for every repetitive task that maybe should be happened weekly, or and of course all of these changes, all of this manual add-on requires you a lot of time, and what we would like to do is to help you in not to waste this time and let Automator part doing this thing. So basically what what we can do so far is to access to the Automator. Automator is part of the Monarch server. The module of Monarch that is available directly, that should be installed directly on the server. And within Automator, we can load the process. So for example, here is the workspace that you have seen before. And I've loaded this workspace into my Monarch server process, visual process, like this. Here, I can also manage the different versions of the project. And so, for example, if I need to make more changes because I've added a new process, of course, I can do it, and I can add this directly into my workspace here. I can manage the revisions, of course. Then another thing that I've added is to monitor the folder. In the folder that I'm monitoring, this input folder, I decided basically to perform a loop. So every time that a new TXT is available, then please repeat the process. And then, of course, we have an export part in which we are saying, okay, please write this in form of CSV file in a specific folder. Now, if I click on run, basically, the process is starting. Of course, is creating the logs, and we have also the number of log ID that is creating. And you can see here is basically exporting. We are on exporting phase. So basically it has already applied all of the tasks that it needs to do. Now the process is complete. I can stay in the log mode. What I only would like to show to you is that he has already written my output here right now, and there it is. We have more and more lines because you've done this also for the receipts number 3. So you have added also another one because I've asked him to perform an append every time that he finds a new data. We can of course perform we can of course overwrite directly my output data in case of need. And this is only one way with which we can automatize the stuff. We can also as well monitor now I've applied my process manually here by clicking on this save and run, but we can as well enable some triggers, and we can of course schedule the time. We can set up the proper time in which we want to perform the process or the process that we like. We can of course monitoring the inputs like we have already did. So we can set up different type of process triggers, depends on our need. If, for example, I need to monitor my input, then I will have my process into my process list here that is monitored. So here in the usage, I can understand that now is monitoring the inputs, and if we add a new input, then it will start and it will perform the whole process. Just to, let's say, anticipate also one of the another tool that will be covered during our next coffee breaks. I've done a similar things as well, also into AI Studio, but of course in a simpler way, just to show, let's say, the capability. Of course, in Monarch Server we have more and more different setup for the automation than in AI Studio. But also in AI Studio, we can eventually look maybe some files and have the possibility then to perform basically the run of the Monarch workspaces that are decided with this new extension. This is the environment of AI Studio, and of course it will be covered during the next topics, but just to show you the possibility as well, even maybe in this case more limited form, at least for Monarch automation, but we can do as well. Please try out this into the software that are covered with Altair units. All of these tools are inside Altair units, and we can see in the next session that in which we will cover the feature engineering. Thank you so much to attend